Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report. The 2020 NFL Combine, it's in the books. The NFL Draft in Las Vegas is less than 2 months away. Let me know if you're going. Today's video is all about reacting to NFL Draft analyst Todd McShay's latest NFL mock post-Combine edition. So if you watch the show a lot, you know that I say, hey, wide receiver, linebacker, a lot of major needs. But I did find this pretty interesting quote from Mike Mayock on drafting wide receivers. I'm a buyer beware guy on first-round wideouts. If you do the homework, if you do the studies, if you look at the numbers, it's very sobering. And I think there's some reasons why first-round wideouts come in and don't have great production. So will the Raiders draft a wide receiver at number 12? I'll let you guys decide. Who would you draft at number 12? CeeDee Lamb, Justin Herbert, Henry Ruggs, C.J. Henderson. All four of these players were available in Todd McShay's latest NFL mock draft. For those of you that are watching this on YouTube, you might get hit with an ad break. While the ad is playing, I want you to scroll on down and I want you to comment who the Raiders should draft at pick number 12. Well, I kind of gave it away. It's CeeDee Lamb at pick number 12. Great at finding the open field. But what was the reason why Todd McShay went with CeeDee Lamb at 12? He says, of course, the Raiders dealt Amari Cooper to the Cowboys 18 months ago. Appreciate the reminder. Antonio Brown, FAB, that didn't work out. Again, thank you for the reminder. Tyrell Williams is not a number one wide receiver. That is something I can agree with. So, obviously, there is a glaring need at being able to get a number one wide receiver for your quarterback. And CeeDee Lamb's been my number one dude. I'm not going to sit up here and I'm going to say that he had the best combine. He didn't. He still ran a 4.5. For those of you that always ask me, Mitch, who's a good NFL comparison for Lamb? I think it's actually a little bit of a lesser version of a DeAndre Hopkins where the numbers aren't going to light up the screen. I mean, the broad jump, the vertical jump, they're not like super eye-popping. The 40-yard dash, that's not what I want you to look at. I want you to look at what this dude does in football pads. What this guy does on a football field. Because that's what I care about. He's a tough player. He's a Gruden grinder and somebody that I would absolutely love to see in silver and black. Now, for those of you that like mock drafts, I would imagine that's why you clicked on this video, go check out this mock draft on our main Chat Sports channel. And while you're there, subscribe to the channel. It's youtube.com/chatsportstv. My man Tom Downey just released his latest mock. I'll put it early in the description. I'll put it in the comments so that way you can find out who Tom thinks the Raiders are going to draft, because between you and me, I think he's smarter than Todd McShay. Let's go now to another rumor where if you do watch the show, you'll know that I talked about this, and I actually gave it 3 Chucky heads on yesterday's video. It was around the Raiders drafting a wide receiver in round 1, and I understand that Mayock is worried. I get it. But if there is one thing that I've learned from covering the Raiders, and if there is one thing that I've learned about Mike Mayock, this man is a very, very intelligent dude, especially when it comes to prospects. But the one thing that I respect about Mayock, and I understand the quote that I showed you earlier, I think he's just doing it to convince teams that maybe the Raiders actually won't draft a wide receiver. To be honest, it wouldn't even surprise me if they drafted 2 in the first round. Now, perhaps a great wide receiver slides, and then you could get another player, maybe like a Justin Jefferson, maybe like a Denzel Mims. I know there's a lot of other really talented players out there, but I will let you know about some of these other great wide receivers that the Raiders could draft in round 1 after I show you this amazing deal. Chatsports.com/RaidersZip, okay? This is a limited time only, though, okay? So for the next 24 hours, this deal is going to last. So if you see this Raiders Zip, if you see this hat, go take advantage of these deals because, again, they are not going to last forever. And, in fact, they're only going to last the next 24 hours. So go ahead, take advantage of this. This hat, only $12. That zip, only $25. But the way you're going to get it is by going to chatsports.com/RaidersHat2. I'll put it in the comments. I'll put it in the description so that way it's easier for you guys to click on it. So I hinted at a wide receiver group that Paul Gutierrez says could be available in round 1. I agree with Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, CeeDee Lamb. To me, Denzel Mims is a little bit of a reach, but good for him and being able to boost his stock. But you would know the name Denzel Mims from 2 ways. 1, I talked about him in my Raiders Report video yesterday. 2, I also talked about him being a potential target for the Raiders. This was back in the round 3 of my first mock draft that I did. But hey, just another reason why you should subscribe to the Raiders Report, youtube.com/Raiders Report. Who loves the Raiders? If you are sitting there and said, wait, I do, then you should subscribe to the Raiders Report, youtube.com/Raiders Report. We pump out videos every single day. Just because it's the offseason, we don't take any days off here, and y'all shouldn't either. Click the big red button below, or the link is, again, youtube.com/Raiders Report. So Todd McShay, he had these 4 players available to him at pick number 19. But I want to know from you, who would you draft at 19 if all 4 of these players were available? Would you go with the wide receiver out of LSU, Justin Jefferson? Remember, we already took CeeDee Lamb at 12. Javon Kinlaw, defensive lineman from South Carolina, type 2. Would you want to go with Patrick Queen, linebacker from LSU? It does fill a big need, type 3. Or you're going to go with our defensive back, Trayvon Diggs. I want you to type 4. Todd McShay, pick 19, went with Javon Kinlaw. And the reason? Dude's a physical freak of nature. And if you can put him in the middle of our defensive line, that's going to really, really help, I think, younger players also, like a P.J. Hall, like a Max Crosby, like a Cleveland Ferrell. Now, you want to talk about a player that looks like a big-time dude? It's Kinlaw. And when he wants to play, he can play. Now, you will see some inconsistency in his game, but when he's on, the dude is on. And I want you to go watch his tape from the Senior Bowl, because if you want to look at the upside and a player absolutely dominating other grown men, go watch Javon Kinlaw at the Senior Bowl. If you just want to watch his regular tape, I'm okay with that too, okay? Now, this is what he did at South Carolina in 2019. One of the biggest reasons why I would love him is because he could already help our run defense, which, let me add, was 8th in the NFL last year, but he could also help our pass rush. Sure, we did have 32 sacks. It was an improvement, but 32 sacks, that's still 25th in the NFL, which needs to get better. Now, if you're subscribed to the Raiders Report, you know what I'm about to say about Kinlaw, because guess what? I talked about it yesterday, but guess what? You'd also know that BetDSI is the internet's #1 sports book. Raider Nation, I'm trying to hook you up with the best deal on the internet. If you love to gamble on sports, if you want to bet on MLB, NBA, if you want to bet on who's going to be the Super Bowl MVP, who's going to win the Super Bowl, you can do it at BetDSI. You just got to go to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code Raiders120. It's going to get you a 120% deposit bonus. So maybe some of you, when I saw the Todd McShay pick number 19 at Javon Kinlaw, you were like, wait a minute. Didn't I just hear that the Raiders won't draft Kinlaw? This was from Vic Tafur, where he talks about 10 things that he learned from the Combine. And Tafur goes on to say that one thing that he learned was that the Raiders won't draft Kinlaw because he's a little bit too immature. However, that was at pick 12. I think it changes things a little bit considering Kinlaw's talent. I mean, this dude is a top 10 pick if you look at just talent. I believe that. And if the Raiders can get a player that's supposed to go maybe at 10, 11, 12, at pick 19, plus you pair him with CeeDee Lamb, you got to be excited about it. Now, he didn't participate in any of the drills, but when I said he showed up and he looks like a full-grown man, he's 6'5", 324 pounds, hands 10.5 inches, arms 34 7/8 inches. For those of you who are like, Rich, come on, man, what does that mean? I got this for you, okay? It's a graph. So this is to show you how he ranks against all defensive linemen ever that have tested at the Combine. He's in the 88th percentile of hand size. What does that mean? His hands are bigger than 88% of the people that have ever gone through the Combine at the defensive line position. Arm length, 92nd. Weight, 94. Height, 84. He's a big dude who is also very, very athletic. So this mock draft was from Todd McShay, and I'm just trying to break it down for you bit by bit. But I'm going to wrap up the show with this question, and I want you to grade it. So the Raiders, they take CeeDee Lamb at pick number 12, and they take Javon Kinlaw at pick number 19. I want you to grade it 0 to 100. 0 meaning it's absolutely terrible. 100 meaning it's the best mock draft you've ever seen. Also, before I go, remember, I'm going to be live on my Instagram tonight, so make sure you give me a follow at Mitchell Renz 365. Raider Nation, what's going on? Is this the #1 Raiders channel on YouTube? For Chucky Heads, believe it, baby. And if you haven't already, subscribe right here. I'm giving you Chucky Heads, news, rumors, Raider Nation rumors. And look at this, I'm making your life easier. Check out my next video. Thanks for watching, and go Raiders.